Hello. My name is Emer, and I am in a tree, and I want to talk to you. I want to tell you a little story, because I just had the thought of kind of seeing where I was, where I am, and the contrast, the incredible contrast between that, and also I'm putting the intention. Like I'm feeling compelled to share, so I put the intention out there that whoever needs to see this video or needs to hear about this story for their own story, that they see it. So hello, hope you're all good, because this is kind of heavy. It's gonna get heavy. So this is a trigger warning. Yeah, I used to hate myself, so I'm gonna keep it light, but there will be mentions of things that trigger people, such as unalive and SH, the self-hate thing. Okay, so, but it ends well, I promise you, because I used to hate and disrespect myself, this organism, this body, this human, this person, Emer. Did not fuck with her one bit, and now I love and respect her. I love and respect myself deeply, and yeah, the respect is real. So how did I get here? I hit my personal rock bottom, and that's not to say that you have one rock bottom. But I think when, like, you may have multiple, I don't know, but as I've grown, I realized that it's not necessarily a rock bottom. It's like you're in a healing spiral, so you're constantly going back to the trauma, coming away, going back to a new layer, coming away again, and it's not like even, it's like if it begins here, it goes whoosh, and then it goes whoo, and it's like whoo, and then it goes zoop, zip, 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 and then it goes right close to the trauma again, you know? So at one stage in my life, I was here, like I was right here, and when I was younger, I did not see a future for myself, because of this feeling of self-hatred and this unworthiness and this feeling that I did not deserve to be alive. Wow, I'm thinking about this now and I'm like, I was so jaded is the word that's coming into my head, but like just blind. My perspective, I was delusional. And now I am delusional still, but it's like for the better. It's like positive delusion. Because, you know, delulu, to make it true lulu, that's the thing, you know? But at the time, I was delulu with regards to what other people felt about me and my situation as a whole. And I was also a teenager. Like, this is it got quite bad when, like, I was tween to teen, which is pretty normal for a teenager to feel all of the feelings and be confused and be delusional and care about that doesn't matter, because you're a teenager and I was in a school, which is like an institution, so like you're literally institutionalized and a little bit like, yeah, I was mentally unwell, and being psychic and not knowing that you're psychic and picking up everything and then attuning your thoughts naturally would match the vibration that you're picking up. So if you're in a tricky area, you're picking up other people's shit, you're not energetically hygienic, you don't have good energetic spiritual hygiene, that's a recipe for disaster. Like actual disaster. So now that I'm speaking about this, I think actually the people that are maybe watching this may also be psychic, may also be realizing that they are psychic, and maybe like, holy shit, hopefully you are young, and if you're not, whatever age you are, the realization is welcome, because it will make a lot more sense than just looking back in your life and being like, I was mentally unwell. Like, mental, this is my perspective. I am not a psychologist. I am a Scorpio though, so I have a deep insight into multiple things. That was a joke, but I enjoy psychology, and I have had previous lifetimes seeped in certain psychological learnings, and in this lifetime I ended up in a psychiatric ward, so I'm qualified. Sorry, that's another joke. I don't know what I'm talking about, but in my view of things, being spiritually unaligned will lead to being mentally unaligned, will lead to be physically unaligned. By unaligned, I just mean like out of balance, out of whack, unwell, almost, maybe. So, and that makes sense if you are someone who believes that everything begins with energy. It would make a lot of sense as to mental unwellness being a result of being spiritually unclean, and not unclean in any sort of like unclean like, oh, you must be pure, not this guy, you know. Unclean in your like, you have other people's energy, you're holding on to other people's energy, you're taking on other people's stuff. If you're a counselor and you're watching this, do a cleanse, baby. Do a cleanse. Do a cleanse. Clear quartz is your best friend, and also any sort of black tourmaline, black onyx, any sort of black stone that offers protection, offers the quality of absorption of those sort of negative vibrations or low vibrations that can stick to you, because that's what they do. And when you're psychic and you have the tendency to take on other people's stuff, if you're a people pleaser, any of this kind of stuff, you store that yourself. You literally take it from the other person and you start dealing with it, and the person like goes off and they're like, but they start making more of it, like that's their thing and this is your thing. I don't know where I was going with that, but when I was younger, I was still this being. I was still all of the energy that I am, and all of the genes that I have, and all of the expressions of those genes. But I didn't know, like, I have ancestral gifts of being psychic, of being like highly, highly sensitive, and I didn't know. So because I was in a place, first of all, that had like, well, I'm in a country that has a very challenging history. There's a lot of death, a lot of grief. Grew up in a village or went to school in a town that also held a lot of grief. Like a lot of places in this country do. On this land is being healed, is healing itself. But I went through a lot of hardship, as you must know if you're Irish. And if you're not Irish and you've heard of us, you probably know as well. It was rough. It was rough back in the day. Our ancestors went through some shit, and the reason that we are here is because of their strength and their bravery and their courage and their glick, that's an Irish word. Their cunning kind of thing. Their intelligence. That's why we're still here. So it's not all ancestral curses and wounds. It's like ancestral gifts and strengths and healed ancestors that are fully in the light. Thank you for all of that. But basically, I think I've said this 4 times. I was absorbing energy and then creating energy of hate, distrust, grief, depression, and because I have the ability, sorry, I'm in the woods. I thought I heard footsteps, but I didn't. I don't think. Hello? Okay, well, if they didn't know where I was, they do now. Yeah, so when you have the ability to channel energy I had severe mood swings because I didn't know how to emotionally regulate myself, and I also didn't know, I was so detached from my body, and I'm only getting back, I'm 25, and I'm only like, there are some muscles that I didn't know I had, you know, like I've studied science, and I've studied anatomy of animals and things like that, but I've never really looked into human stuff. So I've never really understood my body, been aware of my body, because I've been floating out in the ether in places. I'm feeling a presence, so I just want to like say that any presence that is not of the highest good and the highest good of all, my highest good, in accordance with the divine light of creation, bounce. You are not welcome here. And I'm calling in my higher being, my inner being. My spirit guides, healed ancestors in the lights, and the spirit of the trees that are around me. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for holding me. Okay. Me. Okay, so I would have many mood swings, not been able to understand. First, couldn't express anger or sadness, or, you know, get too excited or hyper. And this goes back to like, goes back to what you hear when you're a child. And this is not a blame anything. This is not a blame game in any sense of the words. But it's understanding that what you grew up hearing is what your parents grew up hearing, is what their parents grew up hearing, is what they thought was right, and what they could do to cope. If you're listening to this, you're probably a healer. You're probably the one in your family that's going to do a lot of the breaking boundaries and the breaking out of the box. And as you do that, just so that you know, you don't have to convince anybody else. You don't have to convince your family. You do have to accept that they are doing this. They are in charge of their lives. They're completely capable of managing their own life. You don't have to save anybody. We're not saviors. You heal and you inspire. And as you heal, your bloodline heals. That's why we do this. We come into these bloodlines. We come into these lands and this place, and we heal. And that inspires more healing, because light brings more light. Back to the mood swings. Things would get so bad that I wouldn't know how to cope. So there was SH. I had so much self-hatred, and the reason that I hated myself was being at this vibration, and thoughts started to match. So then you have narratives in your head of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm gross, I'm disgusting, I am this, that, and the other. Enter your insult here. And that built up, and it got too much for me, and I couldn't see a future. I could never see a future. It was all blank. I shut off my ability to see, because when I was younger I saw too much and it scared me. And I heard too much and it scared me, so I shut off that gift that I possess. So I couldn't even plan a future. I couldn't see a future. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do what I was doing, which is like going to school, getting up every day, just everybody used to tell me what to do, and I used to ask them because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself at all. And yeah, that rock bottom I was talking about was basically unalive attempt. Sad, horrible, awful, we know, but like, it had to happen. I truly believe that every single moment of our life is completely supposed to be as it is, Like there's like sayings, there's multiple sayings, but like nothing that is for you will pass you, and like you're exactly where you are meant to be all the time. So, and you experience things that you have to experience in order to learn, in order to heal and experience the next thing. So after that, I was in mental health hospital institute. My words are very tongue-tied. I can't even, Mercury just went direct, like it's not even that. But I was in a hospital for a little while, and that was the first time that I think I felt quite safe. Everybody knew where I was at because I had never expressed how I was feeling because I didn't feel safe to. I didn't feel like it was a possibility, and I also didn't think it mattered. Like, the difference is so stark, and to think that I actually thought that way is really, it's really interesting, because I am a different person now. Although I know I said like I'm the same being, I'm the same energy. That is true, but I'm a different layer of that. Like, and yeah, so essentially I felt safe, and then I started being like, okay, well, I need to help myself. I need to do this. And that's when I started. So I'm aware of my spirituality now. At the time I wasn't, because I grew up Catholic, and then I found out that Catholics did like crazy shit. Particularly in this country, all over the place, greed, blah blah blah, certain ridiculous and awful and horrible and traumatic things that they did. So I lost all of my faith. I was like, I believed in God, and then I lost all of that. So I had no faith, and then I started healing psychologically, and a couple years later, that's what led to a spiritual awakening. I was one of the 2020 COVID ones. And that was, like, if I didn't experience that first part, I would have experienced it in some level. I would have experienced something that pushed me to look after my mental health, which then enabled myself to wake up spiritually again. So yeah, that's what I mean about things happening as they should, as they have to, so that we learn. Like, we put these obstacles and these challenges in place for ourselves when we decide to come here, and then we experience them, and it's so that we can complete our mission here on Earth. Now I love and respect myself, like, deeply, like I would a child, because I've done so much, and I do so much inner work, healing of my inner child, also treating myself like a friend, putting myself first. And this is a practice. Like, it's not like I do it once and then it's fine and then I'm like cured. It's a practice. And things like something as simple as going after work, instead of I had to crack my back. 1 second. Woo, that was nice. After work, instead of texting my friends and catching up on stuff, catching up on myself and saying, how was work? How did that actually go? Because I live by myself at the minute, and in another world, when I used to live with people, you'd come home and you'd talk about your day. So for the last year that I've been living alone, I would come home and think about my day, or just like move on and not actually stop and pause and reflect. So that's something I've been doing recently, and it's treating myself in this way that like this like deeper level of respect has come up for me. And I guess I just wanted to speak about this because often we need things to make sense before we can move on. But sometimes things make a little bit of sense and then we can move on. And then another layer comes over it and you're like, oh, fudge. And then you move on a bit more. So that is like the kind of spiral effect again. Like, it's good that you can't see it all at once, and then another layer comes off and then you can see more. Yeah, I don't really know why I am talking about this now, but I was called by that little voice in my head that I'm learning to trust, etc. So do the trees perhaps want to say something? Just that they're alive. Just that they see us working so hard and that they're healing like we are healing. I heard someone say, they breathe in, we breathe out. We breathe in, they breathe out. But they're so sturdy and earthly, and they're in the ground, and their inhale is like 12 hours and their exhale is 24 hours or 12 hours as well ish. And ours is so much faster, and I think just spending time and slowing down, we're kind of bringing each other to like this. So like humans are like running around the place, asleep, blind but seeing. And trees have been here, like deeply connected to nature, but also like probably not able to feel and experience all of the hardships that went on. So they have done their own coping mechanism to the atrocities that have happened on this earth. And they're waking up and seeing us again, and we're seeing them again, and it's like a big reunion. But like they're speeding up like a little bit, and we're slowing down, and we're going to meet here where nature is, and just like be in the flow of nature instead of working against it or ignoring it. Like, we're really meant to be together, us and trees. Things that breathe oxygen. Oh. Things that breathe oxygen. And plants that breathe carbon dioxide. That like need it to be alive, to stay alive. So yeah, be open to energy. I don't know. If you're somebody that's like going through or coming out of disliking yourself, just know that it probably wasn't you. Like, you're definitely a really cool person. You're definitely like you're a human. You're magical. You're a magical being. We've just been told that we're not. So I hope that you're not hard on yourself, and I hope that you go easy on yourself. Be gentle, because this is extremely gentle work. But if you are coming out of this illusion that you're not a good person, welcome to the love train. That was a weird thing to say, but it's the first thing that came into my mouth. Out of my mouth. What is going on? Welcome to the relationship with yourself and healing that, because it's a beautiful relationship, and I think that you will really, really, really love yourself and enjoy spending time with yourself, and I think that you'll think that you're a really cool person, because I am sure that you are. So be open to the energy of that's guiding you on this, because you're being guided to be open to yourself, and to be open to your healing, and to be open to all of your abilities that feel like you're in a movie. It feels like you're in a movie, like a sci-fi movie, but it's actually just your real life. Bye-bye. Lots of love to you. Stay hydrated.